Case and a few other legal whoppers. Anne, welcome. How you doing?
Great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Well, good to see you. All right, sending an innocent man to prison for 11 years or having some not so nice things written about you in a book. I mean, never mind the legal story. Does this prosecutor risk the jury going, come on, guy, let it go. Let this man have his book.
You are so right. Here's the scales, and then scales of justice. Which way does this tip? I think in favor of the person that spent 11 years. And look at Grisham wrote about him in a wonderful book. And on balance, I think that the prosecutor's behind on this one.
Yeah, you mentioned famous author John Grisham. He also wrote a book, as you mentioned. But the prosecutor, this Oklahoma prosecutor, does he really have a case when you just look at the legal merits?
Well, here's the thing. After the Nifong debacle, the national district attorneys came out and said prosecutorial misconduct is about as rare as human rabies. And, of course, that was refuted by many cases we've seen with the Innocence Projects, et cetera, people being exonerated. That having been said, under the law, United States versus Sullivan, that basically a public figure like a prosecutor has to show actual malice in false statements in order to prove their case, and that's tough. And remember, everything's on the record. It happened in court.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's look at another case out of New York. A man is on trial for a hate crime murder of a gay man. Well, he takes the stand in his own defense, and he has a complete surprise. He says, you know what? I'm gay, so it couldn't be a hate crime because I don't hate gays. I mean, how could this play out?
I know. Well, it's like, are we taking the hate out of hate crimes? The law says is that if you target somebody because they're gay, then it's a hate crime because presumably there's some hatred involved. So that kind of defense, he tried it. The judge said no. We'll see what a jury says, but it's not going to fly.
So it gets down to how you define the hate crime. I mean, does he risk the jury saying, oh, sure, now you say that?
Right. And is this fear and self-loathing? One of the things he said is, well, I don't feel good about the fact that I'm gay. And so in some way, I guess he's using that as a defense. But the fact of being gay and targeting someone else that's gay doesn't make it a case where you're going to be found not guilty.
Okay, and we have seconds left, but tell me about this other case. A student from the University of Massachusetts is suing because he says the school violated his civil rights. He should have gotten an A- and he got a C. What do you think of this?
Well, you don't have a constitutional right to get an A in a class. You know, there was a survey where some people thought there was a constitutional right to have pets. Of course, there's not. Maybe that's the pursuit of happiness. But it was graded on a curve. He came out, not an A, but a C in philosophy. You know, so philosophically speaking, is that okay? Under the law, it is. His case was dismissed.